This video marks my 3-week journey with Herman Melville's Moby Dick. While Herman Melville's Moby Dick takes place over the span of a 5-year whaling mission, the audiobook was only 23 hours, so I powered through it. Here is the documentation of this journey. Greetings. I have decided to try to read Moby Dick. This came along mainly because one of my coworkers is reading Moby Dick, and she made mention of an extremely gay part of the book. And what I've come to discover is that while it is historically a book that is 80% stupid whale facts, the other 20% apparently is just very overt gayness. So it's been pretty fucking good so far. It's a big ass motherfucker. I just reached the 100-page mark. I am listening to the audiobook because I can't fucking read. I can't read it. So the gayness comes from Ishmael, the main character, and Queequeg, who is a really racist kind of rendition of a Native American. I'm not really sure where Queequeg is supposed to be from, but he's also a cannibal, which, yeah, just adding on to the racism, adding on to the pantomime of Queequeg's person. But aside from Queequeg's very strange personality and cultural traits, essentially what happened, and I'm not fucking kidding you, so the first couple chapters, Ishmael is going around, he's like, I want to go to sea, and he ends up at a hotel, and there's no room at the hotel, and the innkeeper's like, well, I can double you up with this other boarder, his name's Queequeg, and you guys can share the bed, which apparently is a completely normal thing to do during this time period. And Ishmael's like, yeah, sure, I want a bed. And then, like, he has, like, a weird gay panic attack for the next, like, 4 chapters where he's like, oh my god, like, what if he's crazy? Or, like, what if I don't want to sleep with him? What if he's a bad, like, bed friend? Like, just, like, way too much worry for somebody who's just, like, sharing a bed. I don't know. I feel like I'd be like, what the fuck? Why not? I like, all we're doing is sleeping, you know? But no, he was, like, freaked out by it. And Queequeg comes in after selling heads, because he has these heads, like these human heads that he's selling on the street. And he comes in, and he's got a tomahawk, which is also a pipe. There's a bunch of things that I would really like to, like, research. Maybe I will research them in the future. So he has a tomahawk that's also a pipe, which I don't really understand. So Queequeg comes into the room at, like, midnight, and Ishmael is already in bed. And instead of just being like, hello, I am your bedfellow, Ishmael, like, gay panics again and just remains silent. So when Queequeg jumps into fucking bed, there's this other dude there, and he freaks out, and he gets his tomahawk ready, and freaking Ishmael's like, don't kill me, and he calls for the manager. And the manager comes in and explains the situation, and then Queequeg's like, oh, okay, and proceeds to go sit on his half of the bed, and they sleep together, and they, like, physically sleep together. And hold on, wait, when they wake up, this is the beginning of chapter 4 for everyone who's looking for Moby Dick only the gay shit. It says, upon waking next morning about daylight, I found Queequeg's arm thrown over me in the most loving and affectionate manner. You had almost thought I had been his wife. And, like, that's just how they wake up. They wake up spooning, and it's fucking beautiful. And, like, honestly, the best indication that they're that they're lovers at this point is the fact that, like, after the night that they had, and after they wake up cuddling. Both Ishmael and Queequeg are like, let's just share a room always now. Like, they don't have to do that. They don't have to do that. Like, it was entirely circumstantial, them doing it in the first place. But, oh, well, now we're in it together. So then chapter 10 happens. And chapter 10 is the chapter in which Queequeg announces that he and Ishmael are literally married. So, and when our smoke was over, he pressed his forehead against mine, clasped me round the waist, and said that henceforth we were married, meaning in his country's phrase that we were bosom friends. He would gladly die for me, if need should be. And then later on, so they're smoking in bed, and then later on, Queequeg salaamed before him twice or thrice, kissed his nose, and that done, we undressed and went to bed, at peace with our own consciences and all the world. But we did not go to sleep without some little chat. How it is, I know not, but there is no place like a bed for confidential disclosures between friends. Man and wife, they say, they're open the very bottom of their souls to each other, and some old couples often lie and chat over old times till nearly morning. Thus then, in our heart's honeymoon, lay I and Queequeg, a cozy loving pair. So apparently there are like literary scholars who can read this and no homo this. I don't know how, because I have never once, literally never once, kissed my friend's nose or like said that I was on a honeymoon with them. I think that this is pretty direct fucking language, but that's fine. That's fine. They're gay. This book, literally Moby Dick so far, first 100 pages is just Queequeg and Ishmael's meet cute and honeymoon after 3 days, which is like, you know, they might be gay men, but they behave like lesbians, and I appreciate that. The Moby Dick diaries continue. I've read, since my last check-in, I think like maybe 30 pages. These pages go on forever. Even in the audiobook, like the chapters are short, but they're long. I've started to hit the point where, so Ishmael is like out at sea now, but I've started to hit the point in the story where we're just getting fish fact chapters. And somehow I thought that it wouldn't be so bad. Like, I was reading and I was like, oh, like the fish facts can't be that bad. Holy fuck, y'all. Like, essentially what Melville seems to have done is to have written a fiction book about sailing and also a non-fiction book about whales, and then just shoved them together. Like, there are whole chapters that are just nonfiction, like not even pretending to be Ishmael at this point speaking. Like, no characters are involved. It's literally just like Herman Melville's dissertation on whales, chapter 2. But, there was a whole chapter where he literally just described the taxonomy of whales for like 10 pages. Yeah, chapter 32, cetology. This is bullshit. One of the funny things about this chapter is that it could have been scientifically correct to Melville's time. However, it is absolutely not scientifically correct to our time. Melville spends a long time talking about how whales aren't mammals. In fact, they're fish, and here's why. Which, if you didn't know, whales are absolutely mammals and not fish. But okay. And then he just talks about all the different whale types that are hunted during this time period, which, like, halfway through the chapter, I was like, wow, that's so many whales that were in the ocean. That's gorgeous. And then I realized that the reason why that seems so special now is because they killed all of those whales, and now the whales are a endangered species. In the arms of the... Hello, everyone. It has been a hot second. I'm more than 50 pages And hold on, I guess that's like the wrong way to show. I'm more than 50% into the book. I'm on page 277 or something out of almost 500 pages. God. Number one, Melville took out Queequeg. At this point, like, there's really no characters except for the whales. And it's just been whale facts for like a solid 100 pages. And now it's gotten to the point where it's not even like scientifically dubious whale facts. It's like him just talking about the process of whale hunting, which isn't something at all that I think most people are interested in 2021. There's a trash can. Yeah, it's definitely been slower going recently. It's hard to get into it knowing that I could listen to just about anything else and find more joy, because right now there seems to be no end in sight for the whale facts. Yeah, let's see, we've talked about whaling, and we've talked about hunting the whale. Starbuck, who has a weirdly unfortunate relevant name, is making like really odd like chants. So I'm listening to this mainly on audiobook, and his chants like verbally aren't necessarily sexual, but like the audiobook narrator definitely like treats them as though they're sexual. Then again, maybe it's just somebody chanting in my ear comes off as sexual no matter what. I don't know. It just seems a little bit odd. Like he'll be like, "Go boys, go, ease up, go," and it's like for like literally like a page and a half, which is too much. God, I can't even remember what happened. They talked about how whaling ships meet up with each other and like throw a little bit of a party. And then right now, Ishmael's going through how they like get the blubber from the whale. Once again, like information that I never really wanted to know. I can understand in the sense of it seems like a very informative book. I cannot fact check with a real whaler, but it seems like I'm learning a lot about whales and whale hunting. So maybe like from that perspective, it's a classic, or it's doing its job, I guess. I'm not enjoying it. But that could just be me. I don't know. God, it's so hard to read. I don't know why people make students read this. I don't understand why people think that students are going to read this when they assign it. I kind of wish, like the Princess Bride has like the Princess Bride, the unabridged version, and then it has the Princess Bride, like the abridged version that's only the fun parts. I kind of wish, and maybe someone has done it for Moby Dick, but I kind of wish that was a more popular way of reading it, because I think that the plot, when we get to the plot, is really fun. Like, I'm excited to see Ahab exact his revenge on the whale that stole his leg, and Queequeg, of course, and Ishmael's, like, love. But right now, it's just, like, whale fact upon whale fact. I also find it hysterical that this man who literally almost didn't get this job, like, is running on the 700th lay of this fucking ship, is up in here all of a sudden becoming like a professional whaler. Like, he talks about whaling like it's the only thing he's ever done in his fucking life, when legit the first 100 pages he told us this is the first whaling ship he's been on. Like, Ishmael's level of confidence is like hysterical to me. It is so funny how invested he is in whaling, as though this was his fucking lifeblood, when we know it was not. Like, damn, son. Damn. Welcome back to me reading Moby Dick. I'm on chapter 90. I just read, or listened to two really interesting, and when I say interesting, I mean problematic as fuck, chapters from Moby Dick. The first one was about how sperm whales run in a single male pod with a harem of female whales. I don't know a lot about sperm whales. I do know that other whales work in a system which we see a lot in the animal kingdom, where the male of a species is so fucking aggressive that they are generally excommunicated from common society for the most of their lives and are only permitted to come back to the women who run the pod and like when they're not fucking dicks anymore. So I thought that was kind of funny. It was like a whole chapter of him just being like, haha, sexist. It was horrible. The next one was about like who owns a whale on the seas. Like if like two boats are chasing a whale, like what are the legalities of whose whale is this? And it essentially is like, you know, like if you've got something in the whale, then your ship has the whale. Which is fine, until he started talking about this in the guise of Western imperialism. Like, he made mention that, like, the Americas was a free fish until Columbus came and, like, took it. Which is funny, because it wasn't a fucking free fish. People were already here. Ooh. So he brought up a lot of other imperialist connotations to talk about the difference between a free fish and a whatever fish. What the fuck did he call it? And a loose fish. Oh wait, no, it's a loose fish and a fast fish. My bad. There's no free fishes. Anyway, I guess if you're looking at this book as the, you know, explanation of a time period, I mean, it hits. But like, goddamn did it not age well. It's nighttime and the lighting's just gonna be bad, so I'm not even fucking sorry. I am on chapter 115 of Moby Dick, which is like, I think 75% according to Goodreads done with my book. I had like nearly a heart attack because one of the chapters, I think it's like 113 or something, is titled Queequeg's Coffin. And I was like, if this motherfucker dies now, I have nothing to live for. And right on the coattails of that realization was the secondary, more awful realization that I had begun to deeply, deeply care about the Pequod and its shipmates. So, Queequeg's fine. Spoiler alert, Queequeg just got really sick and then he decided to feel better and so he lived. I hope that this isn't foreboding for the future, because it was really awful for the 5 seconds when I thought that Ishmael would lose his husband. But I guess we'll find out. It does look like for a hot second I was absolutely convinced that they were just never going to see Moby Dick. Like, they would spend 5 years out on the fucking open ocean, never see Moby Dick. This whole book would be absolutely useless. But it does look like they are going to meet up with Moby Dick. So I'm excited about that. It's only taken 500 fucking pages, so I guess we'll see. I'm not really sure where this book is going. I mean, assumedly it's going toward, like, more whale facts, but it's not looking good for Captain Ahab. Like, I feel like at this point they've got, like, a mutually assured destruction going on, like him and Moby Dick. I also have this hot take that Ishmael is just a manic pixie dream girl without a man. And I would say, I mean, obviously Queequeg's his man, but I mean without, like, the hindrance of a main character. Like, the manic pixie dream girl is the main character, but, like, also just a side character, because the real main character is Captain Ahab. I gotta go check on my french fries, so you guys are coming with me. Or the real main character is Captain Ahab, in the sense of, like, the heroic quest that we're on. Yummy fries. But, on the other hand, but what this means is that, one, you never leave college. I came to this conclusion because there was a frankly abrupt mention that Ishmael had gotten a tattoo of the measurements of a whale skeleton that he saw in a museum, assumedly like during or after the voyage documented. And I like lost my fucking mind. Also, he made mention, and I'll put the writing here. He made mention at the same time that he was trying to save up space on his arm because he wanted to write a poem, like himself write the poem, and then put that poem on his arm. What? 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 I finished Moby Dick. As some end notes for my experience with Moby Dick, I will say that I was upset that I felt emotion for the characters because the book was so fucking boring. Truly, truly boring. At the end of the day, though, the ending was ass. The reading process was ass. I don't really think that anyone needs to read it. Except, I suppose, if whales go extinct, and then we can read it to miss the whales as a cautionary tale against overhunting certain species. The point is, it really didn't age well. Nor did I necessarily think it was that enticing of a story at the time. I wouldn't necessarily call this an adventure. It's more of one twink's rendition of a certain job that he had. I do think, though, a lot of my complaints are mainly because, you know, modern readers have a certain expectation when it comes to books. There's a certain level of snappiness expected. There's a level of foreshadowing and kind of cinematography that we're used to in adventure books that obviously, when we're assigned to read hella fucking boring books in school, wasn't always the assumption going in. So, on one hand, I think that it was probably more exciting during its time period. On the other hand, that still doesn't mean it's exciting now, or exciting for, I think, the majority of modern readers. You know, I've read classical books. Like, I've read classic Western books that I could understand why I was assigned to read it. You know, I've read classic books that I liked, and I read ones that I didn't really like, but I got why people wanted me to read this book. Moby Dick was not one of them. And I do think it's being outmoded in schools. Like, I don't think that most people have read it. Nobody in my family has read it or been assigned it. So I think that we're already socially pushing away from Moby Dick. So this isn't me, like, telling schools to stop assigning kids Moby Dick, because I don't think that they do. I absolutely get why nobody wants to read this book. And I cannot recommend reading this book. So on one hand, it was a waste of 3 weeks, but it didn't feel like a waste. So maybe at the end of the day, I liked it better than I expected to, and I expected to like it 0. So I guess I liked it like a 1 or a 2.